Hello YouTube. In this video we're going to talk about cell phones. Which one is the best and what can I do with it? Cell phones have come a long way since the brick of the 1980s and the bar or flip style of the early 2000s. Today we now have what we refer to as smartphones. A smartphone has a full-blown operating system or OS, such as Apple with its iOS built off of a Unix-based Mac OS X, and Windows phones, which is based off of Microsoft Windows, commonly Windows 7 or Windows 8, or Android, which is based off of the Linux operating system, particularly Ubuntu, which is a Debian-based Linux distribution. That means these phones have a CPU, a GPU, and RAM, motherboard, chipset, and even more interesting, storage. None of them are complete without some way to interface with the user for user interaction, which is done via touchscreen. There are many different manufacturers and brands as well as models of phones which run one of the three operating systems listed above. There are actually another operating systems that are coming out, one of which happens to be a full-blown run of Ubuntu designed specifically for mobile phones. My smartphone has an OS? Yes, it does. And because of this, it also means that things we run on them are called apps, or nothing more than actual computer applications designed to run on the phone's hardware platform. Most of these apps are designed on a standard PC and tested in an emulated environment. App is nothing more than a shortened term for application, which is the same as program. This also means your smartphone is susceptible to cyber attacks. So most of the smartphones also run various security applications as well. This means they can be a target of spyware, adware, malware, and of course, viruses. Many people use their phone for so many different things, such as checking their banking account or buying products, groceries, and even just playing a simple game. So which brand is the best? Naturally, all brands want to boast that they are the best. But what does it mean to actually be the best? Well, that would mean that you have the most of your product out in the field and your product is absolutely no errors or issues. This means none of them are actually the best. Now for reputation, some of them have reputations based off of certain products they have. Now to answer the actual question, which brand is the best? Well, that would be the brand that either has the phone with the features you want. That would be the brand that has the phone that meets your needs. Either way, you're going to tend to use the brand that has a decent reputation. Well, every brand has had a phone that were crap and phones that were awesome. I have a personal preference for Samsung followed by LG. Why? I choose mine by ease of rooting and modification. Samsungs and LGs tend to be fairly easy to modify, and because they're major name brands and highly popular, they're also the major targets for people building roots for them to be able to add the super user account to Linux and Android and get it to where you can actually, do things with the phone that require privileges. The best thing to do is look for something that's in your price range with the features that you want. Look at all the brands and models. Do they match the two criteria that are required? Once you have this done, start looking up the brands and models and see what kind of reviews it has, what issues it may or may not have. This is the best way to make a decision. The final thing, make sure the phone you choose has the operating system you prefer. If you're a person that likes Android, you're probably not going to like Linux or Apple. If you prefer Apple, you're probably not going to like Android. You're probably not going to like Linux. You're more than likely not going to like Windows. If you prefer Windows, you're not going to like any of the others. So why choose one that you're not going to like? Which OS is the best? None. It's all preference. They all have their strengths and weaknesses. They all work. All perform pretty much the same function. It's all just preference. Again, I have the preference for Android because it's open source. Finding apps for it is very easy. Same with custom applications, and because Android is easier to modify parameters unlike iOS and Windows phones, they're, closed source and proprietary. The real question is prepaid or contract. Prepaid is the same service for cheaper. and no contract or obligation. Contracts? Well, most of them require 2 years, and if you try to bail out of the contract or for some reason decide you don't like it or don't want it, you have to pay an early termination fee, which is really, really high. Your prepaid phones? No. You just quit paying for it, you're done. Choose whichever one else, and go. The phones, as you can see right here, through the evolution of the mobile phones in the picture on the left. The Motorola on the side, that's pretty close to what used to be the brick. The brick was actually about twice that size, but it's really, really close. And then you're followed by the bar type phone that had the extendable antenna. If you didn't extend the antenna, your cell phone coverage sucked. And then it goes to the regular bar phones. Finally, whenever you get to that Ericsson right there, you start running into the first early versions of the flip phone. And it goes on across until you get to the Apple iPhone, the BlackBerry Curve, and the Samsung Galaxy S2. We actually had the Samsung Galaxy series, the Galaxy S, that started the whole Samsung Galaxy series, the S series. Then you move up to the S4, which now the common one that they have is the Galaxy Notes, and then the Sony Xperia Z Ultra. As you can see, the phones have gotten bigger again, but they've also grown greatly in functionality and hardware. It's not too uncommon now to either see a cell phone that has a quad-core processor or a 8-core processor with anywhere from 1.5 to 4 gig of RAM, and you can get them from anywhere from 4 gig to 64 to 128 gig of internal storage. Some of the older ones, slightly older, had the capability of using an external SD card, which would support anything from 1 gig up to 128 gig. Now they're moving away from the external SD card and increasing the size of the internal memory. This information's out there for absolutely everybody. As always, watch, like, and share. Have a great day.